This is a special moment for Triumph. In recent years, more and more riders are opting for a more pure motorcycle experience, a reminder of a more simple time, and the savoir-faire styling that James Dean would be drawn to. This is the bike that hits those points and does more, a whole lot more. This is the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE. Part Baja-ready off-road racer and part cafe embellishment. It's big, it has a ton of suspension, and it has the guts that performance enthusiasts crave. The XE being the more off-road oriented bike and the one we'll be riding today. It features a Bonneville 1200 motor, pumping out 89 horsepower and a whopping 81 foot-pounds of torque, and torque is the sleeved ace of Triumph. Its 270-degree crank setup provides smooth feedback to the user while maintaining the throaty grunt of a twin engine. The suspension is a mix of high performance with a front show of 47mm fully adjustable upside-down set of forks boasting a huge 250mm of travel. The rear has you covered with fully adjustable dual Olin shocks with a piggybacking reservoir and the same 250mm of travel, which means you'll be able to tackle enormous ruts, bumps, and any challenge that the terrible Oregon roads can throw at you. Complementary to this is the 21-inch front wheel, and both wheels are tubeless as with any premium adventure bike, and that's what this bike is to me, a giant naked adventure bike. The brakes are Brembo all around. 320mm twin discs up front with M50 4-piston calipers and a single 255mm 2-piston in the rear. Though not a lightweight at 456 pounds dry, it only weighs 4 pounds more than a Tiger 800. That's a lot more displacement for almost no weight difference. As for range, the 4.2 gallon tank will take you far, as this bike gets an estimated 58 miles per gallon, with reports of people getting more than 60 on the highway. Luxury finishing touches include Triumph's brand new TFT screen with a unique configuration for this bike, cruise control, and folding foot controls in case you get a little too rowdy off-road. Well, that's enough narration. Let's get on this machine.
Good job, first person. All right, so here it is. How sick is that? We're gonna be riding it. Let me just walk you through a couple things. I just want to show you the screen. First things real quick. This is the key fob. This has a this is pretty nifty, you know. None of my Tiger doesn't have this. You just keep it in your pocket, and you know, you just, I'll show you how you start it here in just a minute, but we turn it on by hitting up on this, and then it'll take you through this screen setup here, and you have some pretty cool options here. Now this is in daytime. This is actually an auto setting. We can actually make it nighttime. I'll leave it on auto, and we can do something pretty cool here. We can change the style if you like this sort of retro. It looks really cool at night. I'll show you real quick. Yeah, it's like, it looks like a really fancy watch face, but you know, like I said, I'll keep it daytime and I'll keep it in standard for the time being. This also has road modes. We're just in road mode right now, but you have road, you have sport, you have custom, you have off-road, and you have off-road pro. Off-road pro turns off the ABS and traction control. It lets you cut loose. We're not going to be doing that today, so. All right, you can see we got LED lights all around on this one. There's no messing around here. This is all primo. All primo. We have heated grip standard. And let me just tell you, I have a 35, 36 inch inseam, and this is a proper step over for me. I got to really get up over this, but you want that off-road, so. All right, let me show you how to start it. We already have hit up on this, so it's good to go. Next, push down, let it prep. Hit it again, start it up. Sounds awesome. Oh, good Lord. Just monster torque. You almost feel like your butt's gonna actually slide off the seat. Alright guys, so I was so excited to get on the bike that I didn't even actually fasten my helmet. Have you guys ever had that happen? They handed me the keys and I was like flying down the street before I could even do anything. So if you are a tall rider, and I don't mean this like to be, you know, you are what you are, and we all have different sizes, you know, in regards to anthropometrics. A lot of times I've always felt like there's not a lot of bikes for tall guys, and I know people might disagree with that, but maybe we all feel alienated in a way. Oh, good God. So yeah, this is a pretty tall, friendly bike, and I don't think that excludes anyone from riding it. If you're, you know, 5'8", 5'6", more the sort of average motorcycle height, it'll be no issue. Now, you might be on your tippy toes on the XC. They do have the slightly lower XC, but man, I'm really pleased with this, and the engine is, I'm just going to go out and say it right now, I haven't even really romped on it, and I like this better than the triple, because you get the torque so much lower. I'm not quite cool enough to be like that guy over there, but you know, I feel pretty cool on this bike. This bike feels very good. It feels actually more neutral than my Tiger 1200. My knees are at a less severe bend, so it's almost at a 90-degree bend on this bike, which I think is pretty cool. Of course, the big difference already with this bike, you know, it doesn't take rocket appliances to know that there's no wind protection. I'm getting the full blast of wind, and it's kind of a windy day, so I apologize for the wind noise. And when we get to going to highway speed up here, howdy. When we get going to highway speed, you're gonna hear it. But what I want to show is that this bike really is, you know, very versatile, just like an adventure bike. And with regard to the wind, I'll just clear it up right now. There is an accessory, I've already found it. I'll show a picture of it here. It's a 10-inch touring screen. I think touring screen is a little bit liberal for just a 10-inch, you know, we're talking something that goes to here. So what it'll do is it'll sort of put your shoulders and ideally your midsection in a bit of a calm. You know, your helmet will still be in the breeze, but not a big deal. The handling on this bike, it's I can tell it's very sharp, and like I said, it's different than the Tiger. I'm not quite ready to go laying it around corners because it just feels different. I've got pretty used to my Tiger and just sort of using my hips to move around, but I can tell that this bike has sharp handling characteristics, just like the Scrambler 900. I'm just going to activate my heated grips real quick. Boom, it's a little switch there. I can tell you right away that, you know, if $5,000 isn't an issue for you, go for the 1200. You know, just everything about it. It's you know, the 900, man, it pulls for a smaller engine, which I guess 900 is not that small, but this one I haven't gotten on it yet, and I'm really itching to once I get out here. But I can tell it is just nasty. Now, let's think about this for a second while you guys can hear me and I'm sort of clear talking. I said it had like 86 or 89 horsepower, I think. I don't have the specs right in front of me, but 89 horsepower on paper it's not much. I mean, you talk about a 1200cc motor, you know, well, the Tiger 1200 puts out like 146 or 141 or something. Well, it's a little different. You know, you're revving up a totally different cam setup and valve setup, and it's just a very different machine, and you're getting, this is about the torque. So you're getting that 89 horsepower at just a crazy low rev rate, which means you have basically full access to the power, and you're going to feel it more often. You'll notice the power on this bike more than you do on a Tiger 1200. This bike feels like it would wheelie no problem. A Tiger 1200, yes it will, but you better be, you know, revving it up big time before you dump the clutch. And this bike's already wanting to come up on me, and I'm not doing any clutch work, so very comfortable. The seat's a little hard. I can tell already. That's not a criticism, by the way. I think that a lot of manufacturers for a very long time were making the seats a little too soft, and you sit on it in the showroom and you go like, oh yeah, this is really plush, and then, you know, you do like a long ride and you're hurting like crazy. Well, that's because of the soft seat. Another thing on this one is you've got a lot of room to slide around. I don't know if you can see that, but I can literally sit on the passenger seat, no problem. Hello, officer. Nothing illegal here. The suspension really quite good on this bike. I have been going over some road construction here, and it soaks it up really nice, and it should with the amount of travel the forks and the rear shocks have. I mean, really puts my Tiger to shame, actually, the amount of clearance on this bike. If I stick my foot down, I can just barely flat foot scrape the ground. I know you guys didn't just see it. I had to do a quick stop there, and I just wanted to sort of report on it. The bike stops in an absolute hurry, which is good. Felt very confident on it. There's a bit of dive. You know, it's not a telelever front, so it's super tall off-road suspension. There's definitely going to be some dive, but very confident on it. Shifting is a little smoother than on my old Tiger, but it has a clunk. You know, you definitely know you're in gear. Standing up, it's good. I don't have to bend over, really. Standing is good. Let's see how the turn is. I'm not confident on it yet. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like the rake angle is very shallow, and you know, I'd say give me a week riding this thing, and I'll be blasting around corners for sure. It's not bad, but it's different, and you'll have to ride one. This bike is very comfortable at higher speeds. The engine's not taxed at all. Mirrors, good. They're way out. Some of the better mirrors I've seen. The shape is, I'm not really a fan of round mirrors, but it's a stylistic thing on this bike. They work well. All right, here we go, guys. This is my favorite little, make sure there's no police action. Oh yeah, it's fast, and I wasn't able to even give it everything because it feels like it wants to throw me off the bike, and the front wheel was coming up. You probably couldn't tell. Every shift, the front wheel was coming up. I mean, it's fun. I'm having an effing good time. This is YouTube. I gotta keep it classy. Right out of the box, you're just getting a hell of a bike. One thing I also noticed is that this bike has proper handguards. They're aluminum boned. So what that means is, you know, like one of my complaints for a long time has been they put these stupid plastic ones on the Tigers, don't do diddly. I mean, they'll keep the wind off a little bit, but don't even do a great job at that. So what do? You go buy bark busters. Well, these come with a proper handguard right out of the box. They may not be as tough as a bark buster, but I'm pretty happy with it. You put the windscreen on this, get yourself some saddlebags, you're good to go. If you guys can even hear me right now. If not, sorry. Otherwise, critically, you know, I'll try to, let's be realistic here. Part of a review is criticizing. I already covered the wind. That can be somewhat resolved. Although, just like on my naked Hayabusa, my legs are being, like at the higher speeds, it really wants to pull your legs away from the tank. And I don't know what you could do about that, or if, you know, I'm just telling you that's the way it is. The way, you know, you could be going, well, duh. So it's not much of a criticism. If you've never been on a twin, getting used to the lower power band is, it will take some time. Because it sits so high, turning on it will take some time to get used to. Now, I'm pretty sure you can, you know, supermoto this bike with the best of them.
On just one more critical note, which is by no means an excuse to not buy this bike, this one was actually presented to me by someone who was actually buying the bike the day that I walked in. He noted to me that if you look at the brushed metal, that the features that are brushed metal on the side of the bike, I don't know if it shows up well on the camera, but there's actually a bit of difference in the way the metal looks, and it's one of those things where maybe it would look, you know, just that much better if all the metal features had the same exact appearance, as if it were cut from the same sheet of metal. Now I know realistically in production that's very difficult, but it is something that he noticed, and once he pointed out to me, I just thought, well, it's one of those fit and finish things. So it still looks great, but have to point it out. Alright, so I'm here at Cruisers right now, and I just thought I'd stop and talk about the bike a little bit without all the crazy wind noise. There's a lot of wind noise on this bike. There is no wind protection. If you couldn't hear me saying that, it's it's still fun. Still does just fine at the high speeds. It's just a great looking bike. Overall, I'd have to say, of all of the Triumphs I've ridden, which is a lot now, I'm getting there. This would be the bike that I would buy. The engine is great. Now, this engine is excellent in the Thruxton. It's excellent. It's probably great in the Speedmaster or the Speed Twin. I haven't ridden that one yet. But on this bike, it just feels right, and the height is really great. I don't think this would be too much for a person who was, under 6 feet or anything like that. But if you're a person who you find yourself saying there's not a lot of tall, friendly bikes, this is it. And honestly, though, this is a really top-notch machine. The components are excellent. They've really thrown the kitchen sink at this bike. I'm a little jealous of it in a way. I mean, when I get on my Tiger, it's going to feel like it's not even moving, to be honest. So if you guys have any questions on the bike, I have access to it unless they sell it. They've already sold a ton of these things. I have a feeling this is going to be a hot bike for them. This is a really unique bike for Triumph. Triumph is, there's some really great things with Triumph, and there's some vanilla, I would say, but this is not vanilla. This is it. Well, I'm going to head back to the shop, and I'll catch you guys there. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I really want to say thanks to Cascade Moto Classics here in Beaverton, Oregon. Feel super lucky I got to ride that bike. I mean, they don't have to let me do that, but they're really cool people here, so thanks, guys. Other than that, I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions about the bike, please let me know. Happy to answer. I try to get back to anyone I can as quick as possible. Even if it's nasty comments, that's fine, hey, it's cool. I'm just glad you watched the video. So with that, this is Randy from Motodring, and I will catch you guys next time. Ride safe.